The thing in the development. The Lighthouse Keeper's eyes grew distant as he spoke of the suburbs, where horror wore the face of normalcy. The Meadowbrook development appeared overnight, or so it seemed to those who lived in the surrounding farmland. 47 identical houses, each painted the same shade of cream, each with the same black shutters and the same red front door. The construction company had worked fast, too fast, some said, but no one questioned prosperity. Marcus Chen was the first to move in, drawn by the price and the promise of community. The house felt wrong from the beginning, though he couldn't say why. The angles were correct, the walls were plumb, yet standing in the living room, he felt perpetually off balance, as if the floor tilted ever so slightly beneath his feet. The neighbors arrived in waves. By autumn, all 47 houses were occupied. Marcus learned their names at the mandatory homeowners association meetings: the Hendersons, the Pratts, the Okafor family. Good people, normal people. But in the evening, when he walked the curved streets, Marcus noticed something peculiar. Every house had its curtains drawn at precisely 7:47 p.m. Every porch light came on at 8:03 p.m. Every family retired at 10:30 p.m., their homes going dark in perfect sequence, one after another, like dominoes falling. He mentioned it to his wife, Sarah, who laughed. "People have routines," she said. But Marcus saw the way her hand trembled as she closed their own curtains at 7:47. The development sat on filled land. Everyone knew that. The construction company had drained a marsh that the locals called the Sunken Hollow. Old-timers at the hardware store spoke of it in hushed tones, remembering how nothing had ever lived there, how even birds avoided flying over its stagnant waters. Marcus began staying up past 10:30, watching from his darkened bedroom window. At 3:17 a.m. exactly, every front door in the development would open, just a crack, just enough to suggest something looking out or something looking in. He started documenting it. 47 houses, 47 doors. Every single night at 3:17 a.m., the precision was inhuman. Sarah stopped sleeping. She'd sit on the couch, staring at their front door, waiting. "Don't you hear it?" she whispered one night. "The sound under the foundation, like breathing." Marcus pressed his ear to the floor. At first, nothing. Then, there, a rhythmic susurration, as if the house itself had lungs. He checked the crawl space with a flashlight and found the earth beneath unnaturally damp, almost fleshy in texture. The smell was organic, tidal, ancient. The homeowners association called an emergency meeting. All 47 families attended, sitting in rigid rows in the community center. The association president, a man named Derek whose smile never reached his eyes, spoke of property values and neighborhood watch programs. But when Marcus stood to mention the doors, the 3:17 a.m. phenomenon, 46 heads turned toward him in perfect unison. "We don't discuss that," Derek said softly. "We agreed." "I never agreed to anything," Marcus said. "You did," Sarah said beside him, her voice flat. "When you signed the papers, when you moved in, when you closed the curtains at 7:47. She turned to him, and her eyes were wrong, too reflective, like an animal's in headlights. We all agreed. Marcus ran. He drove his car to the development's entrance, but the road simply curved back on itself, depositing him at his own driveway. He tried on foot, pushing through the ornamental shrubs that bordered the property, but the hedges had no end, stretching infinitely in both directions. The sun rose on Meadowbrook as it always did. Marcus stood in his living room, feeling the floor's subtle tilt, hearing the breathing beneath. Sarah made coffee with mechanical precision. At 7:47 p.m., his hand reached for the curtain cord of its own accord. The Lighthouse Keeper fell silent, gazing out at the sea. "Some places aren't built on the land," he said finally. "Some places are the land, digesting what settles on its surface. And some deals aren't made with signatures, they're made with presence, with being there when the doors open at 3:17. He turned back, his weathered face grim. "Last I heard, there were 48 houses in Meadowbrook. They're breaking ground on 12 more,